Hey, if you're new here, my name is Alicia Grogan, and I am a pediatric occupational therapist that specializes in all things sensory processing, that is. That's a special part of our brain that is constantly working to take in the senses that we're experiencing, make sense of them, and then choose how we're going to respond. Just like any other aspect of the brain, that sensory processing can be wired a little bit differently. So much so that some kids seek out sensations all the time, or they avoid them, or have some kind of mix of seeking and avoiding different types of sensations. The problem is when those signals are miswired, it often leads to kids being distracted because they are trying to kind of balance out their system and get their needs met. And that's where we see these sensory red flags. The sensory red flags are not a bad thing. It's just that your child is waving a flag saying to you, hey, I might have some of those sensory processing difficulties. So when a kid constantly has difficulty responding to directions, listening to their name being called, and their hearing is fine, that could be related to their hearing or their auditory sense. It could be saying, hey, I have some sensory problems. I'm not just being bad. It also could be a sensory red flag if your child is running non-stop. If they do dangerous things like jump off the top of the dresser or run out into traffic. There is this impulse to keep moving because of how their brain is wired. Or we could be at the other end of the spectrum and have a child that is avoiding going to birthday parties or being in public places because their senses are bombarded. It may be too loud, too bright, too smelly. There might be people bumping into them. And they may have a tantrum or a meltdown or freak out or mouth off. Those are all sensory red flags. Looking for those clues of to what your child is doing starts to put a picture together of what kinds of difficulties your child may be having. Know that sensory red flags are a great step to understanding and helping your child, because once you understand what types of sensory difficulties your child has, and there are several of them, then you can use specific strategies and sensory activities to help them actually improve their sensory processing or to kind of work around some of those sensory needs. And when that happens, they're usually able to focus and to do all of the things that they were meant to do.